The Spurs just teased something wild. This training camp is underway. We've been getting clips left, right, and center of what is going down at the practice facility, but we got two big hints, including Wemby hooking up with another certain big man that we just acquired, and a little teaser of the potential starting five on opening night, including a surprising new name. We got to break all of this down coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest. But hey, before we get into it, guys, we are super close to 10,000 subscribers. We're like 100 subs away. Thank you for tuning in every single day. You guys have made this amazing. Let's jump right into it, and let's start with the starting five. Now, let me preface this, of course, with this is the lineup that we had anticipated, but there's a couple of issues with this, right? De'Aaron Fox got a bit of a hamstring issue, so he's not going to be ready to go opening night. Dylan Harper might be ready to go opening night, but he's still kind of practicing on his own with that splint after thumb surgery, so those two guys might be out of the question for who'd be running at the starting five spot right now. But we got a bit of a hint in this practice. Again, there's some cool videos coming out from this. This is courtesy of Spurs Twitter, but I want you to take a look at this. Now, actually, before I get into it, knowing that Harper and Fox are probably not in this starting five from practice, pause the video, leave a comment who you think it'll be. So we're going to get into it now, and it is actually Julian Champagnie alongside Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Victor Wembanyama. This is the practice starting five, and I found this a little bit interesting because, you know, there's some names. Again, Sochan's another one that should be ready to go for the season. He said he'd be good to go for training camp. Not sure if he's still taking his time here with these drills, but from what we saw, this is the five that they're running with in practice. And look, the thing is, there's no certainties about who's going to be ready for opening night. I think Dylan Harper will be, but the question then remains, will Dylan Harper be able to squeeze into this lineup on opening night? The rookie, fresh off surgery? Is that a risk? Castle's not a risk, Vassell's not a risk, Barnes is not, and Wemby's not, and Julian Champagnie actually opens the floor quite a bit. And I wanted to bring up this quote, and I saw Paul Garcia tweet this out yesterday, talking about Julian Champagnie, because something Champagnie said kind of resonates with a lot of people, but it's something Pop told him. He said, "Someone's always after my job." That's one thing Pop said that always sticks with me. When I go out there and play, that's what I'm constantly thinking about. Someone wants my spot. So I can't let that happen. And you know what? Fair play to him. This dude has started his fair share of games for the San Antonio Spurs, and I'm gonna be honest, he's been fairly reliable. Now, I have never really seen Julian Champagnie as a longer-term starter for this team. He's always taller than I think he is, too. I don't know why I always peg him in my head at like 6'4", 6'5". He's 6'8", but look, on his career, 42% from the corner. Last year, 37% from three. Not amazing, but in 22-23, he was a 40% three-point shooter. Champagnie is very streaky. We know that. He can be hot and cold. We've had a few shooters like that in Spurs history. Danny Green's one of the ones that comes to mind, but when he's on, he opens up the roster like almost no one else. So if you look at this starting five and you imagine, let's say opening night comes and this is what you want to run. Like, let's say Harper and Fox are both not ready. I think this is a fairly safe bet because you're not putting too much pressure on Sochan, because if you start Sochan over Barnes, which again, yeah, could happen, but again, Sochan's fresh off a calf injury, you could do it, but then the shooting kind of gets tight again. Could definitely work, because Sochan and Wemby actually have a nice little two-man game. We saw that a lot last year, but regardless, this is your best floor spacing starting lineup that you could go with, if you ask me. Castle at the 1, not an amazing shooter. Wemby at the 5 actually is a pretty good shooter. And then Vassell, Champagnie, Barnes, all, I would say, average to even above average for Vassell at his best and Champagnie at his best in their case. So I'm actually really intrigued by this, but I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think this could actually be the starting five on opening night? I am skeptical. I think if Sochan's healthy, you might see a shot of him, but you know, Harper as well, but like, I don't know, like, the more I look at this, the more I think it actually could be real. So leave your thoughts down below, but that wasn't the only thing that was teased, right? There's some more stuff going on here, and it involves Luke Kornet, because Luke Kornet, look, I've loved everything I've heard from him. In fact, he had a great quote, too, saying hitting the ground running and really just pushing ourselves on that side of the floor to really kind of establish ourselves as being a great defensive team. That's his ideology, and he's been talking a lot about how he and Wemby can coexist, right? And, you know, they definitely can coexist. Wemby having good rim-protecting backups in Kornet and Biyombo is something we have been looking forward to since Wemby came into the league, because we really haven't had that level of rim protector, and Kornet fits very well, and he's going after that defensive mindset early. Again, reminder, this dude averaged a block a game in only 18.6 minutes, but his advanced metrics painted him as one of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA. 7'2", he's 30 years old on a pretty bargain deal, a pretty decent contract. But what we did get teased, I want to run this video again. You see Wemby firing these nice passes to cutting Castle. Wemby taking these little post fades over Carter Bryant. But it's this little play right here. Wemby hooking up with Luke Kornet down there. They've been playing together a little bit at these practices, and it has us naturally wondering, is this something we could actually see? Well, even Luke Kornet was asked about it, right? And he said he believes that him and Wemby can play alongside each other during a game. This is courtesy of Raul Dominguez, who tweeted this out. Kornet did play with Porzingis and Horford in Boston. He knows how to work with another big man on the court. And Kornet, again, he's pretty mobile. He actually ranked in terms of all rotation bigs. He was in, I think, like an A grade out of all the rotation bigs in the league via B-ball index in terms of off-ball cutting on offense. He's pretty mobile and he knows how to work without the ball on offense. And of course, you can just stick him at the 5 and you put Wemby at the 4 and you're kind of okay because Wemby's mobile enough on defense. But it's what Luke Kornet also had to say here. There's a great video. Dan Weiss has it on Twitter. A few people have it. But Luke Kornet was sharing his experience on playing with guys like Porzingis and Horford in Boston, right? He did this a lot. And his big thing that he said was like, listen, when you have those two big guys who are rim protectors, you kind of force the other team to really not want to come in the paint. You can force them to make other decisions. Yes, it's going to be, now he didn't necessarily say everything I'm saying here. I'm kind of just summarizing what he said, but you know, he's saying like when you have those two guys, it makes it very difficult on the other team. You want to make it hard to score at the rim. In terms of like the offensive stuff, this is just me talking now. You'll take some getting used to. Again, in a league that's getting progressively smaller, progressively faster. Well, I don't want to say progressively smaller, but I would say the prevalence of small ball is increasing. You know, and you have guys who are maybe less mobile playing the 4 and 5. That just doesn't fly as much as it used to. But again, I think Kornet's more mobile than we think. He is so bought into the defensive identity that the San Antonio Spurs are going for. The idea of him playing with Wemby is incredibly fun. This Twin Tower lineup is actually, when I heard that Fox wouldn't be ready for the start of the season and, you know, you're not sure if Harper's going to start, this here, Wemby and Kornet, that kind of play is what I was envisioning maybe as like a Twin Tower starting 5. And I didn't think it was likely, but I do really enjoy watching these guys practicing together. Kornet being asked about it. Kornet saying that he thinks they could do it. And again, look, with Victor Wembanyama, there's no question that this dude is going to be able to space the floor and play the role of a pseudo, I guess, power forward on offense. Wemby is just the hub of your offense. He's probably going to carry the ball sometimes. He did it a lot last year. He's going to have the ball at the free throw line. He's going to be down in the paint taking these post fades like we saw against Carter Bryant. Like, he's going to be doing all of this stuff. So his role on offense is not that of a prototypical 5, which allows Luke Kornet to, again, move off ball, use that cutting that he has, but also just park himself down low on occasion, right? There's going to be so many lanes opened up by De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle coming downhill as the season's going on. I think it's going to work well. So Kornet and Wemby, watching them play together now, having that planted in my head is just getting me more and more excited for this season. And I hope it's getting you guys excited too. Leave a comment down below on what you think the starting 5 will be opening night. And do you think there's a world we could see some pretty significant Kornet and Wemby lineups? Love to hear from you, but that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. News is coming out every single day now. Season's right around the corner. Thank you for sticking with us for this whole ride. We got a ton of great stuff moving forward. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.